Welcome to the City of Toronto Children's Services Pre-Opening Considerations Part 1 module. As you prepare to open back up your doors to staff, children, families, and the community you serve, there are many things that need to be reviewed and considered. This module will support you in starting to think about how your program will function once reopened. In this module, we will be discussing the building, which refers to the physical space and the layout of your program, the room environment, which refers to the space setup, the materials available in the program space, and lastly, outdoor play. The building. Let's talk about the physical space and how all requirements can be met. All individuals, including children attending childcare, staff, and visitors, must be screened each day before entering the childcare setting, including daily temperature checks. Consider where will you set up your screening area. It should be in an area located at the front entrance, blocking entrance into the childcare center, and only one entrance or exit should be used. It is recommended that visual lines, such as tape markings, be used to identify where families are to stand to ensure safe physical distancing from staff who are conducting the screening. Parents and families should not go past the screening area. Therefore, you will need to consider who will escort the child to and from their program rooms at the beginning and end of the day. Due to the limited space at the front entrance, to allow for safe physical distancing for screening, consider having staggered arrival times for families. This can be done in different ways. For example, having a weekly sign-up where families can choose to arrive between designated times such as 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. That way you will know how many families to expect at a time. You will also need to consider how long each screening takes and plan for that when making a drop-off schedule. Here are examples of screening areas that were set up in Toronto's emergency childcare centers. Your screening area will be designed around your type of program space. Let's take a look at the program space. What program rooms will you be using? The current expectation is that no more than 10 individuals per room. This includes the children and adults. Each cohort cannot mix with another room, group, or cohort. The ministry's definition of a cohort is a group of children and the staff members assigned to them who stay together throughout the duration of the program. You will need to think about how the children and staff will be moving around in the space. Can two cohorts from two different rooms be in the hallway at the same time and still adhere to the physical distancing requirements? If not, the daily transitions will need to be reviewed to ensure only one cohort is in the hallway at a given time. If you are in a building where other programs are operating, for example, a school with a summer camp or a community center, consider what plans need to be in place to support the flow of traffic for each of the groups to ensure physical distancing practices are in place. If you have limited space, consider using signage and/or markings on the ground to direct staff and children through the program space. Personal belongings should be minimized. Therefore, encourage families to only bring essential items, such as an additional change of clothes and a coat. Each child should have their own cubby or designated area which is labeled. You may want to consider a specific policy or protocol for stroller storage if this typically takes place inside of the childcare center. For example, designating a space outside of the childcare setting or a storage shed so parents do not need to enter the building to leave the stroller. Now let's look at the room environment. Once you have selected which rooms you will be using, the educators will need to identify and remove all play material that is not washable. This means removing all plush toys, such as stuffed animals and hand puppets, porous toys, such as toys that can retain water, and sensory play, such as sand, slime, and water play. As discussed in the environment module, it is important that the amount of play materials accessible within the environment is reduced. All play materials need to be cleaned and disinfected between users. You will need to consider who will be conducting this disinfecting process. Even though we are facing new challenges during this time, it is still important to ensure that the environment provides a variety of play materials for the children to explore that provide a sense of belonging and comfort. Encourage the educators to reflect on the children in care and their interests, ensuring that they are including play materials that children will want to engage with and rotating materials on a regular basis. Have a reflective conversation with the educators about how the needs of the individual child are going to be met in this new environment. Can you offer choices while still maintaining physical distancing? When looking at the physical setup of the room, encourage the educators to look at their space and see if there are any opportunities to open up the space. Can visual cues in the room encourage and promote physical distancing? For example, consider limiting the number of chairs at each table to ensure that proper physical distancing is maintained. Place markings on the floor to redirect children. If possible, position play areas to increase distancing and to create purposeful movement either toward or away from specific areas. Outdoor environment. We have heard from healthcare experts that being in the outdoors is a good way to limit the spread of the virus. With the warmer weather, take the opportunity to encourage educators to spend as much time as possible outside with the children. It is important to include some physical activity as part of your daily routine. You will need to think about how you will use your outdoor space. Will you need to have 2 different cohorts using the same playground space? For example, 2 preschool groups but only 1 playground. Will it be possible to clean and disinfect play structures in between cohorts? If not, consider not using the outdoor play structure at all. Is there enough outdoor play material for each cohort to have their own set of play materials and equipment? If not, cohorts may share the equipment, but it must be cleaned and disinfected between uses. Consider scheduling outdoor play by cohort in order to facilitate physical distancing. If your outdoor space is large enough to accommodate more than 1 cohort, educators can divide the space with physical markers to ensure cohorts remain separated by at least 2 meters. We know that being physically active contributes to the health and well-being of children. When possible, consider using the outdoor environment as an additional program space to encourage small groupings to allow for more space for the children to explore and move around. Encourage educators to think different about their daily schedules to allow for more small group experiences. For example, if it is good weather, allow children to have lunch outside. This is the time to get creative. That concludes the pre-opening considerations Part 1 training module. If you have any questions, please contact your district consultant or send your questions to qualityassurance@toronto.ca. Thank you.